Out of gas today. All right. All righty. All right. Seconds to lift off. 3 minutes, about 21. All right, good morning. This is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Another long night trying to watch a little NBA playoff basketball. The topic today is still a residual from the NFL draft that took place over the weekend and the fallout from Shedeur Sanders. He's going to be headed to the Browns with the 5th round pick. He passed over him several times before he got to that point. And if you look at the thumbnail that I put on the program, that is a picture of the Browns head coach Stefanski and the GM Andrew Berry. And they don't look too happy about it. And that's what we're going to talk about today, the Browns situation at quarterback. Did they actually create a problem for themselves by drafting Sanders, especially at such a late position? But before we even get into that, I want to talk about the NBA playoffs. And the first game of 2 that they had last night was between the Miami Heat and the Cleveland Cavaliers. You would think that if you are making a whole lot of money to be a professional athlete, you are going to step into your arena and give it all you got every single time because you're being way overly compensated for what you do. You know it. Everybody in the world knows it. And it's a situation where you shouldn't be too comfy because it can be snatched from you. But in the world of the NBA and their contracts, they are pretty much fully guaranteed. And because they're guaranteed, you're not guaranteed to get the efforts that you're supposed to get from your athletes when you're supposed to have it. So here it was last night, the Heat. They got beat by 37 in game 3. The wheels kind of fell off them in game 3. But you would think that they will shake off that rust or whatever problems they had. They had a couple of days to work on it, to get it fixed, and come out in game 4 and give it the best effort that they were going to give all year long. Why? Because they were facing elimination. And when you face an elimination, this is when the best is supposed to come out of you as an athlete. Well, the Heat apparently didn't feel that way because they come out and right away they fell behind 43-17 in the first quarter. And at halftime, they end up being down 72-33. What is that? 39 points in the first half? You're fighting for your life and you get beat that bad on your home court. If you are truly 40 points down to a team, or they're 40 points better than you, and you're a playoff team, number one, what does that say about the league that allowed you to make the playoffs? And 2, are you really a playoff team? Hell no. How the hell are you going to get beat by 39 points in the first half of an elimination game? You didn't show up to play the game, man. And that is a travesty all the way around. First of all, you come through the play-in bracket, Well, you had to win 2 games to make the playoffs. You knock off Chicago, and then I forget the other team you beat to get to the playoffs. And then you jump in there fighting a little bit. Now, Cleveland's a better team, granted, but they ain't no damn 40 points better than you in the first half. Well, they end up losing the game by 55. And after the game, they talk about, looked like they were crushed and their spirits were broken. But I really don't think so. I think they came out and say, well, we can't beat this team, so we won't put out any kind of effort. Anytime that you play a sport, especially in the playoffs, you got a puncher's chance. They might be better than you, but at least you can get in there and scrap a little bit. The Heat made no illusions at trying to scrap with Cleveland last night. And the sad thing about it is all those fans in the stands, they didn't get a discounted price. The concession prices didn't go down because the Heat were getting beat so bad. I guarantee you that they probably charge more money for being in the playoffs than they would be in the regular season. So as long as you have a system like this, that the players make all this extra money and then really don't have to back it up, I mean, what is the point of this? It's just like going to the movies. I mean, just another form of entertainment. There's no pride in what the players are doing, and there's no repercussions for doing what they do. Now, the guy on the end of the bench, he might have a problem. He might get cut or waived or something, but he'll end up on the bench of somebody else's team next year. So there's really no repercussion, just a little inconvenience. But the fans, they had to get all dressed up, get all in the traffic, pay the parking, walk into the arena, get to see your team get whipped like that, and at the same time, buy overpriced food and anything else that you might have had in there that you're trying to sell. And it's well past ridiculous. But I just had to say something about that because it's crazy. Kirk Gaming, how you doing, man? I don't know what I got going here. I believe I'm not on the right channel here. I should be dealing with adults. So hopefully that nothing went wrong with that. I had a connection problem. So if this is a children's channel, this is not for that. This is supposed to be for an adult. And hopefully I didn't change the settings on that. But I'll make sure I don't use any foul language just in case I did mess that up. But going to the Shedeur Sanders thing, they drafted a man in the 5th round after passing him over. It's clear to most people that somebody behind the scenes had something to do with the man being passed over like he did. The Browns picked up, I believe, in the 3rd round a quarterback, Dillon Gabriel, out of Oregon by way of Oklahoma. And then you come back in the 5th round and you add Sanders. Well, it's great if the two players are going to have a legitimate opportunity to compete against each other. Because even though it's an unpopular pick for Gabriel to be at number 3 and Sanders to be at 5, when you get those two guys in the field house together competing against each other, now you get to see. And I believe that it sets the coaching staff up to look bad. While they're competing against each other, the owner, who is said to have been the one that drafted Sanders, not the interests of the coach and the GM, is the owner. And if that is the case, that would be a great move by the owners and one that probably should be copied. You telling me that you're a professional coach and you're a GM and you at the top of your game? Well, here are two guys we've been considering. You said that you prefer to have Gabriel. I don't think so. I think we should have this guy. So let's bring both these guys in here and let's put them to work and let's see who's the best player. Not only will we get a chance to see the best player, we'll get a chance to see if my coach and GM are any good at evaluating talent. That would be a great move by the owner. And if Sanders blows Gabriel away in camp, that doesn't make the coach and the GM look very good. And I think subconsciously they know that, because at that press conference, when they were talking about that pick and when the pick came in, you see that look on their face. I think subconsciously they knew that. So the question is, will Shedeur get an actual chance to make the team? because the coaches control the reps. And if he's not getting legitimate reps, then he's not going to be able to make the team. So step in owner again. If the owner, who's going to be out there watching practice a lot of the time, sees that Sanders is not getting the opportunity to get his reps in, he's going to step in and he's going to make sure that Sanders gets those reps in. So my answer to that is, if only because of the owner, Sanders would get a legitimate chance to compete to make the team. Because if you left it up to the GM and the coach, judging by their reactions at the draft, Sanders doesn't have a snowball chance in hell of making that team. But whatever happens, the Browns still have a log jam at quarterback, and they're going to have to get rid of somebody. The wild card in the situation is Deshaun Watson. He's probably not going to be able to come back this year. If he does, it's going to be so late in the season. The only reason he will probably play this year if the other guys ahead of him play so bad that he just got to get somebody out there. So I think he's going to be pretty much on IR all year. You got Joe Flacco, who they brought in as a veteran to guide these young guys along. You picked up Kenny Pickett out of Philadelphia. So you assume that Flacco, probably Pickett, and then whoever wins the battle between Gabriel and Sanders will be that third quarterback. Now, having said that, there's no set order to how it's going to go. Maybe one of the two young guys might win the job and eventually take over by the end of the year. And maybe Pickett is a third-team quarterback. Either way, and by the way, the Browns refused to pick up that option on Pickett. So if he doesn't do well, he's not going to be in Cleveland very long. But the thing is, I think what's going to happen is the quarterback that loses that third position, he's going to be cut and attempted to be re-signed for the practice squad. I say cut because to get to the practice squad, you have to be released. And when you are released, everybody in the league has an opportunity to pick you up. So what I see happening, either Gabriel or Sanders will be cut at the end of training camp, and somebody's going to pick them up on their roster, or they're going to re-sign with the Browns on the practice squad. So either way, all four of those quarterbacks are going to be working this year. The question is, how much of an opportunity will Shedeur get a chance to play? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to see, and that's what everybody wants to see. And I think the unusualness of the situation puts everybody in the opportunity to compete. You got the GM and the coach who is on the line for their decision making, and then you have the two players who get a chance to shoot it out and actually show who was the better draft choice. And I don't know if you had many opportunities where you had this situation unfold. And I think Shedeur, he's in a good position where he can have an opportunity to compete. And I think his ability to compete or opportunity to compete will be guaranteed by the owner, because it's said that the owner is the one who pushed to draft him in the first place. Now, again, I think whoever doesn't win that third job is going to get cut, and they're going to end up signing with somebody before Cleveland gets a chance to put them on the practice squad. But in any case, those guys are going to have an opportunity to be on a roster in some capacity this upcoming year. And that's what the excitement is about. What's it said? Into April now. We got May, June. Camps open up in July. And then we can get back to some serious business of football on all levels. And one good thing about basketball, I tell you all the time, it's just something to do until football comes back around. And because it's just something to do until football comes around, it's a great filler in these late spring, early summer months to build up the football. And during those times, you have your NBA playoffs. And if we're lucky, we might have a Summer Olympics or something like that. And before you know it, it's time to play some football. For me, a great summer would be the Olympics, of course, but you add to the fact you got these spring football leagues, you got the Canadian Football League, and for me, I have that Tour de France. I like watching that tour, man. I know people think it's boring to watch these guys ride up and down on a bike, but it's more to it than that. it's like traveling through history because some of the places that they go and the winding roads and the towns that they go through, and they give you backdrop on where they're going through. It makes for an interesting story if you sit there and watch it. But if you just get fixated on the fact that these guys going up and down on a bicycle, you're not going to get the point. But one thing's for sure, and I heard Stephen A. Smith going off on Lance Armstrong years ago about him not being a great athlete because he's riding the bike. Well, if you ride down to the store and there's a little hill and you hadn't been riding, you got a problem trying to get up that hill. Well, it's kind of the same thing with a professional athlete when they have to go up those thousands of meters to get up to the top of those summits. And there's some gruesome hills they got to climb. And you will crack if you're not in shape. I still don't know how to do it and then come back the next day and do it 2-3 more times. You have to be in incredible shape to do that. So to refute Smith, they may not be the athlete that can jump and do what the football players do or basketball players, but these guys have to be in tremendous shape to do what they do. And that is worthy of tremendous respect. So I'll be looking forward to the Tour de France. Then when training camps open up, then we get into real football and everybody's happy again. But this basketball crap, what we seen last night with Miami, they ought to give their playoff money back to the fans that showed up last night. They should just all collectively put their playoff money in a pool, whack it up, and give it to the people who showed up and watched that massacre last night. To get beat by 55 points, it's one thing to get beat 20, 25 points, hey, you just better than me. But 55 points and to be down by 39 at the half, you didn't come to play, man. But you charged me full price to come watch this garbage, man. And I got a big problem with that, man. But anyway, I think I might be on the wrong. How you doing, CJ? And whoever else is out there. And like I said, this is not meant for a kid program. I'm having some kind of connection issues, and I think they might have me in the wrong position here. But again, we're talking today about football, and I know everybody likes football and keep track of what's going on with your favorite team. People in Jacksonville are all excited and giddy about the possibility of what Travis Hunter can do. We found out yesterday that he's going to keep the same number he had in Colorado and Jackson State, so we're number 12. And he's coming in with the right attitude. He's not talking about setting the world on fire. He's just coming in and he wants to do his job. And that's all you have to do is to do your job. And I think that's what the kid got on his mind, and he's going to be pretty good at it. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. But we're still a couple of months away from finding out what's going to happen. But I think the Browns, they kind of created a problem for themselves. But at the same time, it's a good problem because you get to see your coach and GM, how their decision-making process shakes out. And Gabriel and Sanders get a chance to see how their talent shakes out. So it's going to work out in the end for the Browns. But I think they could have gone about it in a different way. But the way it's set up, they're going to be in a pretty good position in the long run because whoever win that battle between Garcia and Sanders just might be their franchise quarterback moving forward. And Stefanski and Barry, if Sanders wins that job, they got a problem. They're going to be looking for a new head coach, especially if they don't make the playoffs this year. So keep an eye on that. And better yet, it's going to be hard for them to make the playoffs because, Cincinnati, they're not going to get those bad breaks, even though everybody's going to catch back up to Baltimore. And Pittsburgh is going to be better. And Cleveland, you got a problem. You better hope that Garcia beats out Sanders. Because if you don't, he ain't going to last. But anyway, that's just my take on this thing. I hope I wasn't on the wrong channel. If I was, I apologize for that. This is supposed to be a sports show for adults, not for kids. So shouldn't be any kids on this time in the morning anyway. So I apologize for any misconnections that I had. So until next time, this is Sports for Real. I catch you guys on the flip side. In the meantime, I got to get out of here. I got to go to work. So have a great day. I'm out.